Welcome, seekers, to Moon Magic for the Aries full moon on September 24th, 2018, at 1 degree of Aries. I have been really excited to talk about this moon as I've been thinking about it because it is a very important energetic thing that is going on the collective level, on the creative level, and how we are showing up to each other and to our communities, and how we can take the conversation about attraction, vibration, abundance, all these things, all these key words that keep coming up in this community of thinkers and seekers and spiritual guides. What are these words talking about? I think it's time that we take the conversation to the next level. Yes, we are independent agents who are responsible for creating healthy electromagnetic fields and vibrations in our heart and our brains, and utilizing these tools in our physical and spiritual bodies to connect with feelings and experiences that match us. But that's the thing, right? It's not just about being these soul agents. It's about connection. It's about community. It's about the fact that there is a context within which we create our energy. It is not an isolated system within each of us. It is not. And I think that a lot of times these conversations about being a deliberate creator are amazing. I love that it is starting to become more and more acknowledged that this is a big part of how we experience the world. I think that's so amazing. But I do think there has been a sense of isolation and loneliness. It can make you feel more despair and isolation if you get into that mindset of you're just this single entity doing work. And the reality is that we create a vibrational field, we create a certain energetic quality, and then that energetic quality is created within a context, which allows for things to flow in. So the conversation I want to have today for you is about being an individual in a context, in a community, in a world, in an organic whole that is connected, and what connection means and how we can connect more deeply. That is what this conversation is going to be about. That is what this Aries full moon is going to be bringing up as a bigger collective conversation that I think we need to be having. So I'm really excited to talk with you about it. So the main reason that this energy is coming up for me as I look through these energies and as I feel through this full moon, we have Aries, of course, which is the initiating first sign of the zodiac, right? The fire, the initiating fire. And it is all about being the master and commander, the emperor, the ruler, the leader of your own life, right? It is that symbolism of us being very responsible for taking up our own practices, being responsible for putting in the effort to do those practices. And of course, so we have the moon lit up bright in Aries at 1 degree, and then we have the sun at 1 degree of Libra. Now, Libra is the relational sign. Libra is the counterpart in this Aries-Libra axis of self and relation. And Libra is about balance. Libra is about there is this self, but there's an other. There is a context. And we are in Libra season. We are in a time when we have to think about how we utilize our minds to conceptualize our relationship to our contexts, to the relationship to the other souls and the other beings that are around us, crafting life together with us, because we are absolutely within that. And it does affect us, and it should influence at some level how we are creating and where we are putting our energy. And it does. It's a give and receive relationship. And that's what Libran energy is all about. So we have this axis working with us with the full moon. Now, the thing that makes this full moon really interesting is Saturn, our lovely Saturn, is deeply involved. Saturn just finished a retrograde earlier in September and is now at 2 degrees of Capricorn. So it's within 1 degree of a T-square. So we have 3 cardinal signs being lit up, a very important placement: Sun, Moon, and Saturn. And when you have cardinal signs lit up like this, these are squares. These energies challenge each other. These are energies that are at a point of asking us to grow into something bigger. Now, the cardinal energy, what is that? What does that do? A lot of cardinal energy is very much about initiating, engaging, getting in there. And Capricorn and Aries especially are very much about the individual striving, which is an important part of the puzzle. We have to have industry. We have to have that consciousness of individuality to push forward into the next life, into the next iteration, into the next project, into the next experience. We need that. We need that energy. But when these three signs are squaring off in this T-square like this, we have to re-examine the context within which we are striving forward and creating our vibrational field. We also have Chiron at 0 degrees of Aries, which is a very tender placement. We have all this energy right around the early degrees of everything in this full moon. And that means that we are pushing past old paradigms. We're smashing into a wall in order to break through into a new iteration. And that means that it is heightened energy. This is a moon that you will feel that intensity. I mean, Aries, nobody ever claimed Aries was like a chilled out energy. This is very fiery and crackly. And I love Aries, by the way. Shout out to my Aries. I love you guys so much. Life without you would be meaningless, and I love you. But Aries energy is all about forging forward. Now, because we have a square, because we have Chiron here, the wounded healer, pushing up right against this full moon, they're almost conjunct, really, 0 and 1 degree. And we have Saturn influencing this. We have to look at how we're going about this. And this is where my conversation is really going to take off, when I am talking about the fact that we are not alone, we are not in isolation, and that there is a context for our creative capacity as individuals. So, how do I express this in the clearest way possible? We have our desires. We have those things that are very near and dear to our hearts that we really want. We want to experience doing meaningful work. We want to experience deep relationship. We want to experience meaningful friendship. We want to experience deep connection. That's really what most of our desires pivot around. But we live in a culture that has, over the last 100 years especially, very much highlighted that we get a sense of connection from having objects, objectifying things. And this is where the individual agency can get very confusing. Because as individuals, we can purchase things, we can make a wish list of, I want this person to date me, I want this job to call me, I want these things to happen. And what tends to happen is where the isolation comes from, where that feeling of isolation comes from, is this sense that we have to obtain objects, that the way that we get things rolling is via making all the external components around us meet us, where our vibration is. It's the desire for control that starts to feel very, very much like, what is the point of doing any of this? And so there's a really delicate, soft place within this whole process that I want to talk about, because there are certain things that are in your control. Feeling good in the moment. Yes, consciously, use your conscious mind, use your ego mind to come up with that list of desires, right? But then there is the seeding control to the organic context, the organic being of energy that you are a part of, which is this community, which is this world, which is this universe, which is this energetic connectivity. And I know you guys are already on board with me when I say this. This is just a new way to maybe kind of think about those times when you feel that pressure to be a super attractor, to be a super manifester. I think sometimes those ways of talking about abundance and flow and alignment can be extremely isolating, because there's the second part of this, which is, yes, you are the conscious creator of your own vibrational field, but you are absolutely influenced by those around you. And that context is what brings in external influencers. It brings in external excitement. It brings in external newness. That's where the surprise comes from. It's from this organic thing working with you. And the only way you can connect in with that organic flow, the only way that you can connect in with this energy that you are a part of, that is morphing with you and around you at all times, is to let go of that idea of ultimate control of how things come out. You have to let go. We feel isolated when we feel stressed and we feel frustrated, and we block our blessings when we feel we have to control it from A to Z. And that even includes the practices we do in our own life. Sometimes we can get on this kick. It's like, okay, I'm going to meditate every day. I'm going to be really deliberate. I'm going to make sure I feel good at all times, at all hours. And if I don't, I'm failing, right? That go-getter initiating energy that is so lit up in the sky with this full moon is getting challenged. It's uncomfortable because there is a point at which you're trying to control it all. And as you try and get more and more and more and more in control of the situation, not only do you objectify other people that maybe you want them to act a certain way, you want them to react a certain way, you want the situation to unfold a certain way, which creates all the actors and all the fields around you. They start to be perceived as just objects, which is extremely isolating. If you imagined yourself on a chessboard with just plastic pieces that you are moving around, it would feel so despairing and lonely. And that's what starts to happen. But not only do you objectify the people around you, the other beings, the other vibrational fields around you, and not acknowledge their own organic factors, but you are also objectifying yourself. You are also objectifying yourself when you start to override your soul and your heart with this criteria of, I have to do this the best in order to make sure I have control and in order to make sure that I push forward and make these things happen in my life that I want to have happen. It's no wonder people can feel very alone, very much like this law of attraction conversation is a whole load of crap. Where are all the good stuff coming in? And that's because we have to release control just beyond where we want to have it. And we have to stop objectifying ourselves. And especially ourselves and those around us as well. Because we are a part of a community. We are a part of other soul beings. There are other souls. You have a soul group that has the best intentions for you. You have energies all around you that are working with you constantly to help you. And they are beyond you and they are of you. And it's so much more complex and detailed than just self and other. We are self and we are other. We are in this constantly morphing, beautiful, organic process. And this moon is going to make you feel very on edge, and it's going to make you want to dive into that control factor. Into that idea that you can, manhandle the situation into whatever scenario you want it to be, and you can make your dreams come true. This is my advice. Do the opposite. Relax. Calm down. Notice where you're objectifying yourself and others. 9 of Swords. Notice where you are afraid that if you cede control, nothing will ever happen. If you cede control, maybe everything will fall apart, right? Those fears, those nighttime fears that come upon us. This moon could really trigger that. It could really trigger that, and you could feel a little bit on edge, I'll be honest. But if you know that this is what's coming up, if you know that the conversation is switching from us being these soul enterprising individuals making things happen, and that we are expanding that conversation to not only say, yes, we are responsible for our own well-being, but that we are also part of a context. We are also a part of a community. We are also part of soul groups and links and beautiful things that work together with us. Four of Cups. These energies are the energies of wanting control, of objectifying the flow. We get in our heads, we get wrapped up, we feel very stuck, we feel very caught in where we are right now. And like nothing will ever flow in again. Take a deep breath. Card just fell on the floor. 10 of Cups. The wild abandon into the moment. The welcoming in of that flow, of that community. You can see the difference. You can see the difference between 9 of Swords, 4 of Cups, and 10 of Cups. It's right there. It's just on the other side of this T-square. One more card today, I think, to balance it out. Judgment. That makes sense. When we objectify ourselves as a pawn in our own game and we objectify others, we judge. And we had a conversation about that with the Virgo new moon. And the funny thing about the Judgment card in tarot is that it's about the freedom from the judgment. It's about the freedom from the old haunts, the old spooks, the old ways of doing things. It's about the jubilation of realizing that you can accept grace in your life. And you don't have to control everything, and you don't have to torture yourself or others to be happy. You don't have to buy your way into happiness. You don't have to manipulate your way into happiness. You can just witness yourself and witness those you love and witness the becoming. There's so much love here. There's so much love here in this moon and in this collective conversation. There is so much love in what is possible. And even in the moments where maybe you feel that situations just aren't moving in the direction you wish they would move, even in those moments when you want to clench up tight and you want to find a way to have control, find a way to make the to-do list, find a way to write the perfect email or text so that you can get the reaction you want, even in those moments where you just want to clench up, there's so much beauty here. You can give yourself that breath. It's okay to want control, especially in a culture that's constantly telling us we can have control by buying our way into it, by obtaining. No wonder we feel alone. No wonder we feel alone in those moments. It's not always just about manifesting what you think you want in your conscious mind. Sometimes it's about manifesting a sense of community. Sometimes it's about just accepting the wildness of those around us in their own organic becoming and accepting the wildness of the road. It is wilderness. It is not meant to be tamed. It is not meant to be contained. It isn't meant to be curated in such a formulaic manner. And we are coming up against that very squarely with this full moon. It can be really intimidating. And when we surrender, we find our path in service to others, to those we love, to what we care about the most. And the isolation doesn't have a strong hold on us. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that was a helpful discussion. I think we need to have a lot more discussions about the fact that we are a part of a collective and that there are big shifts going on there. With law of attraction, we need to take that next step into thinking about how we interact with the components around us and how we affect each other deeply. There is a conscientiousness there that is starting to be awoken, and I think we will see those conversations getting deeper and richer month after month from here on out. I hope you will join me and subscribe to the channel because I will definitely be a part of this conversation. I have big plans to create so much more for this community and for all of you out there who are interested in finding new ways to connect and create and grow, and I will be happy to be a part of that experience. So keep tuned here on this channel, or you can follow me on Instagram at SARAHTAROT. I would love to see you over there. I am wearing this gorgeous necklace by PinkLune, Tiffany at PinkLune. This is Citrine, and she and I designed this necklace together. This was something that came to me in a vision of the future over the next few years, of my future iteration coming forward. And it's really meaningful to me. This stone called to me very specifically, and you can actually she does have this necklace for sale. So I will leave all the info in the description box. Go check her out if you're interested. And of course, I'll leave my website and my email below so that you can get in touch with me. And stay tuned, my loves. There's so much more to come. I can't wait to talk to you in October about the big healing journey that is coming up for all of us with a Venus retrograde in the works and a lead up to Jupiter going back to Sagittarius in November. There's a lot coming up very soon. So, grace. Let's have some grace. I love you guys.